In this video, I want to share 5 Pocket Notebook tips for what I'm calling meaningful productivity. So the reason why I'm calling it meaningful productivity is that I believe for us to be productive means to do less and not more. It seems like the majority of the productivity advice out there is telling us how to get as much done as possible in the least amount of time. And instead, I think we should be focusing our time, attention, and energy on the things that matter most to us and with the people that we love. The last thing that you and I need is to have more work to do and to become busy for the sake of being busy. We do enough of that already, and in this video, I want to help you mitigate that as much as possible. So here's tip number 1. Always carry a pocket notebook with you. So while this one may seem obvious, it's actually a lot harder than one might think. We've grown so accustomed to carrying our smartphones with us everywhere that it can be difficult to remember also to include a notebook. As a man, I always have a pocket notebook in either my back pocket or in my jacket pocket. And women, you have the advantage here, as it's easy for you to keep a pocket notebook in your purse or in your bag. The key is to get in the habit of always having a pocket notebook and a pen on you at all times. And for me, this also includes around the house, as I want to be reaching for my notebook as much as possible and not my phone. Tip number 2, don't overthink it. There are tons of videos and methods and systems, etc. on how to journal, take notes, and productivity systems, and PKM, and Second Brains, and the list goes on and on and on. But for me, a pocket notebook is simply a place to catch things. It's my one-stop shop catch-all, where I can write ideas, tasks, prayer requests, reminders, quotes, literally anything at all. I don't care too much about organization or layouts, as I'm just trying to capture something so that I don't have to keep it in my head. Once I know it is captured in my notebook, I can go back to it later and take the necessary action. The key is just to get started using it, and over time, you'll find patterns and other helpful things that best work for you. Number 3, reach for your notebook instead of your phone. If you're anything like me, you reach for your phone more times than you can count in any given day. It's almost become an instinctive reflex, and I sometimes find myself reaching for my phone without thinking about it or even realizing why I'm doing it in the first place. We're increasingly becoming less and less capable with being bored. You and I are constantly being bombarded with other people's thoughts and their ideas. But when was the last time you thought about your own thinking? If you're always consuming ideas and thoughts from other people, when do you make time for your own? A pocket notebook can be a great way to reflect, ponder, and to think about what is going on with you and inside of you. Making time for yourself is important. We would do well if we spent more time thinking about our thinking. Number 4, it's a place for prayer and gratitude. The first couple of pages on my pocket notebooks are reserved for prayer requests from other people. When I'm bored, waiting for an appointment, or at a restaurant waiting for my takeout, I will often take out my pocket notebook and pray for people on my list. This is a great way to take your mind off of yourself and to reflect upon things and people that truly matter to you. I also like to write down what I am grateful for, especially when I am stressed out, frustrated, or just not having a great day. Whenever I'm feeling anxious or depressed, it's because I'm typically worrying and focusing upon myself too much, and on things that, frankly, if we're being honest, we have little to no control over. Being able to write down what I am thankful for really helps to put things in perspective, and it humbles me. Number 5, archive and revisit. So much of our lives are digital now, and we have little to no what I would call artifacts left over. All of the time, the likes, the posts, and everything on social media, etc., really just amounts to little, or it doesn't amount to anything, if it amounts to anything at all in the first place. Make sure to always archive and keep your pocket notebooks. It's always fascinating and interesting for me to go back and read through some of my older notebooks and see what I was thinking, feeling, praying about, etc. Hindsight truly is 20/20, and it can be helpful to review your past self and see where you're at currently. It's also encouraging to go back and look at old prayer requests and see how many have been answered. Having what I would call a log of your life can't really be put into words. It's one of those things that you can't appreciate until you start doing it and exercising it for yourself. Bonus tip number 6, don't get too personal in your pocket notebooks. I really don't recommend you get too personal in your pocket notebooks because I have lost them before. It doesn't happen very often, but since they are small like this and carrying them around, especially if it's in my back pocket, it can fall out and it can get lost. If you have a personal matter you want to capture, try to capture it in a somewhat vague way that only your future self will remember. That way, if it does get lost, no one will understand it. I personally don't feel comfortable writing anything in there that I wouldn't mind a random person on the street or even a friend of mine reading. So that's it for this video, and I hope you have found these tips helpful. Leave your suggestions in the way in which you use the pocket notebooks in the comments, because I love learning from all of you. Cheers!